first of all, I would like to thank you all for taking the time for this Zoom meeting. I know we are all very tired of all these meetings we have every day, but I think it's an important topic I would like to discuss with you today. So before we get started, I would like to ask you that you introduce yourself.
Yeah, thanks, Christina. So, just briefly, my name is Muntaha Amjas. I am a habitant at Ulm University and Helmholtz Institute Ulm. Also, I'm a junior research group leader within the Cluster of Excellence. Also, I'm a member of police and also member of the Equal Opportunity Committee.
Thank you. And Britta?
My name is Britta Nestler. I'm head of the Institute of Applied Materials, Computational Material Science at KIT. I'm part of the Cluster of Excellence Polis, and I'm one of the PIs and supervising a number of research projects within the cluster. We are working on microstructure modeling based on phase field models and combine the phase field method with various multi-physics equations like mechanics, chemomechanics, and electrochemistry and diffusion of solid and temperature. So we are working on the modeling of electrode structures.
Thank you. And Jana?
Hello, my name is Jana Hoff. I'm part of the Institute of Production Science at the Karlsruhe Institute of Technology. And within Polis, I'm the head of the research unit D, which is integration and sustainable cell engineering. And within this group, we have some projects ongoing regarding the producibility of future battery concepts.
Thank you. And Maren?
Hi, I'm Marlon Katrin Hoiberg, and I'm a PhD student at Ulm University at the Institute of Electrochemistry, and so also part of Polis. And there I'm working on sodium deposition in the very fundamental research where I combine electrochemical measurements with topological measurements with in situ scanning tunneling microscopy.
Thank you. I also introduce myself. My name is Christine Kranz. I'm currently the Equal Opportunity Officer in Polis, and I'm also a PI in Research Unit C using scanning probe microscopy and electrochemical methods for characterizing interfaces and interphases. So the idea behind our Zoom meeting today is that on the 11th of February is the International Day of Women and Girls in Science. Have you heard about that before? Just raise your hands or, yeah, Jana.
Yes, but just because last year, I think it was a Battery 2030 Plus initiative, they also asked me to answer some questions about women in battery research. It was actually the day I was aware that there is a day for women in science.
I have to admit it's the same for me. I have heard about because of the Battery 2030 initiative last year. So looking at the data, and these are according to UNESCO, there are still less than 30% of the researchers worldwide are women. And of course, in the MINT subjects, this is even less. So like natural science, mathematics, statistics, it's only 5%. Engineering, manufacturing, and construction, they're only 8%. So the question is, why do we still have this gender gap in the MINT? Monta?
Yeah, maybe I can comment here. So I think there are really many funding agencies and many measures that all would like to increase the fraction of women in these men-related fields. But the problem here is it's referred to the focus of these funding agency. If their main focus is just to so back again to the research itself and the development of, or the improvement of the research, or it's to support a woman to keep them in their full efficiency to proceed with their career. So if it's the second focus, then I think they are all in the right direction toward increase the fraction of women in these mint-related fields. But if their main focus is still to achieve only the goals of this proposed research or the work, then at some point the women will lose their efficiency and they maybe stop at some point.
Thank you very much. So, Britta, you're very successful. And could you give, like, for the early career researchers here, like a recommendation? What are the pitfalls and what are the to-dos and not to-dos? Because you obtained the Leibniz Prize, you got many awards, so you made it, and it's really interesting, I think, for us to see what is the secret to success.
Well, this is quite difficult to answer. I think it has not really a special gender aspect. So I studied the subjects that I liked and I was most interested in. That was mathematics and physics. And I did rather a straightforward a study of these subjects, and I went on to change for the diploma thesis to an engineering discipline. So I did my first experiences in material science for the diploma thesis in physics. So, and I was really interested because it was very interdisciplinary area of research there. So that was really well suited for my experience, my knowledge, and my interest. And I think I just carried on and didn't lose lots of time before finishing my PhD. And then I took over a small young investigator group, some with some own funding from German Research Foundation, and built up a small group that was still at RWTH Aachen, before I then got a first professorship 1 year after my PhD at Karlsruhe University of Applied Sciences. So I'm not sure whether this has any aspect of female or male. I just didn't care about it very much. I just enjoyed my work and worked in an interdisciplinary area and was very much motivated intrinsically. So that I think that, and I was always oriented towards the research question and not too much about political backgrounds and all this stuff. So I think that was more or less the way for success.
So to rephrase that provocatively, is that stay away from politics and women questions or these gender discussions, that you can be successful in science or in mint
Well,
science?
well, I'm not sure whether this is a general statement, but I did it this way. So I didn't stay away from politics in general, but from the gender debate. So I was not particularly funded from any gender money, or I was never particularly pushed because I'm a woman. So it's just I participated in the general funding agencies from German Research Foundation or from BMBF. So
Okay.
but it's a bit hard to generalize this. I'm not quite sure because I'm not a gender researcher, so I can't really answer the question.
So because there are so many articles about, the glass ceiling for women, and then this goes on since quite some time now. So it's interesting to hear from somebody that in your case, you never felt that way.
Well, I also recognize now that, for example, there are a lot of prizes called for women. So, for example, excellent PhD thesis from women. I think at my time that was not ready. So there were only prizes announced for any gender. So maybe today women could use this chance to apply for prizes, for projects, for maybe programs, also particularly for women. But when I did my career, that is almost 20 years ago, we didn't have particular seed fundings for women in. So I got a number of prizes, but they are open for men and women at the same, so very equal. I didn't have the chance to actually uh, apply for particular women fundings or prizes.
Okay, so one last question, because Montaha and you have children, they are still quite small, go to school. So would you love to see more support from your university or in general in Germany, that you can combine your work, your science with family? Do you see or do you feel that there's a lack here? Because it's quite different in different countries. Montaha, would you like to comment on that?
Yeah, maybe I can start here. So, as you mentioned, but as well, there are now many specific programs to support women. Also, women like mothers, women with children. But in my opinion, what I feel, I can't see a clear support for a woman who has children to release some of extra activities that women have to do to combine both family responsibilities um, with work activities. So the main focus is to support the women um, to keep them to keep them in their academic career, but in reality, I can't see that this actually helpful to release any of the extra activities that women have to do to combine these kind of facilities. So yes, there is a lot of support to get my research funded, but not like me as a woman. Yeah. So I see there's still a gap. I mean, and need to be discussed or need to be covered to help women to really combine between these really hard tasks.
Maybe I can add or agree to the point of the support. I think it's very difficult to support women in their double role as a researcher as well as a family manager. It's a bit hard. I can't really see points where support could help for example, to educate your children at home or something like this. But also this has improved. When I started or when I got my first child, I really had difficulties to find a kindergarten place. We didn't have Kinderuniversum at KIT at this time. So my last kid went now to Kinderuniversum. That was very easy, but it was also hard to plan, because before the kid was born, I couldn't arrange a fixed date or a plan when I will have a place at kindergarten. So this could be improved. They told me I have to wait until the kid is born, and then I have to see when a free place will be available for a woman in teaching and also group leader. This is a disaster. You have to plan what happens in the next semester. Will to look after your child. You have some spare time because you got a kindergarten place for some hours a day. I'm not talking about all day. But I think things have improved here slowly, but a little bit at least.
Thank you. Jana, Maren, do you already think about that there might be later on when you would like to plan that you have kids or family that you will struggle then, or is that not a topic for you at all in the moment? Yeah, Maren?
Yeah, this is really something I have really often thought about. And not just now, even when I started I think with starting my master thesis or so, that I really thought, okay, then I'm doing a PhD, and then of course with a PhD you one day want to have a little higher position, but I'm not sure if this is then that easy with children, or easy to get a job if the where you apply, they think you're a kind of time bomb because you could get pregnant every moment or so. And I think lately I sometimes talked even with colleagues about how it is if you then have children and want to give them to kindergarten, and then they said, oh, but you can't give them to a kindergarten that soon. And then I thought, okay, this is maybe the role in society that we women, we should be away quite some time, but then it becomes more difficult to get back to science again. And this is really something I'm already thinking about.
So maybe I can add something, because I'm now 29, just finished my PhD, so I would lie if I tell that I have never thought about what are the next steps in the private life. And I think for me it's quite easy because we have role models at our institute, at the faculty, to see, okay, it's working with kids. And one of my colleagues, she was coming back with her children to our office. We have a mother-child office at our institute. So for me, I always saw that it's possible and that it can work. But I think that's quite special at our institute, that this is possible because we also have a female professor at our institute, and she was mother at our institute. So she's a role model for all the female scientists at our institute. And I think she's supporting all of us. As soon as I will say I am pregnant, that she will give me the 100% support. But that's something special at our institute, but I think that's quite a luxury situation that I have there.
So that would have been my next question, because that you stressed that this is very specific for the institute you are right now. Do you feel there are enough role models and you can contact them, or would you like to have that more, that you're in contact like with Montaha now in Polis, or Britta, to discuss your fears, what might happen, or your things like what might affect your scientific life if you get pregnant. So would you like to see more role models or be more in contact with role models?
So maybe I can also answer this question. I think for me, I always search for role models, not only female, but also male role models. I think it's the question about pregnancy is quite hard, because there are also women that don't want to be pregnant and they don't want to have children. So what if you ask them a question like that and they just don't want to answer that? But there are always kind of groups or meetings at universities where you have to search for, but as soon as you find them, it's still at KIT, there are such groups or Stammtische or something where you can just sit together and ask these questions. And there's always have been some kind of private rooms. So it needs to be that there is always this atmosphere of, yes, you can ask the question and this question will not leave the room. And then I think I always like to have these meetings, and was getting in contact with women like Britta or Julia Maybach that are on early career levels or on higher career levels, just to ask these really, really private questions.
Maren, do you feel the same way here at Ulm University or within the cluster?
Yeah, I had the great luck to be in a quite huge institute, so we are quite some women there, and my group leader is a woman too. So there I have maybe quite some luck, even that I have women that are kind of role models for me.
Thank you. Another question, if we look at the numbers, KIT and Ulm universities still are in the German ranking quite low when it comes to female professors. Do you think there is something needed, or do you think it's just because there are not enough women pursuing a career in academia, or would some measures help to improve that? And how could that be communicated?
I think the situation has been evaluated during the Excellence Initiative, and we noticed that there is a drop of women from master to PhD thesis. If I remember, but I don't know the numbers. But if this is the case, we have the problem that we have less women to do PhD, and even after the PhD, the number drops again, because I think one reason is the family reason, because women then have an age where they plan to have a family.
If we go, if we go to the northern part of Germany, like in Berlin, or I know from Bochum, they hired a lot of female professors in recent years. So do you think there should be more emphasis here in the South? I know we are more conservative here. Maren?
Yeah, that reminds me, when I went to a conference, I was very wondered about how many female professors there were, because here at Ulm, it's really something that doesn't happen a lot in chemistry. And but on the other hand, I saw some applicants for professor positions here, and where then male ones were the professors in the end. And yeah, I could understand why the male ones there won the position and the females didn't. So it's, of course, it would be great if there would be more female ones, but if there are only the men that are applying are better, then it doesn't make sense to take a woman there.
Monta?
Yeah, I think this point also initiates the importance of the increase of awareness of the women, mainly in their early stage and their PhD, and also to provide enough role models for their father-raised questions, in case if they would like to have more feedback from women with children, then they have some already mentioned role models. Also to implement in mentoring program during their PhD, just to encourage them to communicate, or to ask if they are not sure, for example, of if they're a bit afraid about having family within their work, then they can have someone who can answer these questions. So I think it's really important to have enough role models, even within the institute or as external role model and mentor.
Thanks. One thing, and this is often discussed in the news, are the quote. Would you think that a quote in academia would make sense? I know that's, again, a controversial question, but I would really like to know what your opinion is about that.
Well, I personally think that the quote doesn't make sense, because we want to have the best person for a position, for leading an institute or a particular research topic. So we have to look for the best, but the hope would be that under these best, there are more women in the future. But I think this has to start at some early stage of the career, starting with master and PhD already, and also giving young women then the confidence that it is possible to combine research career in research academics with personal development in life and having a family, and that this is doable, and that they can manage to have both a career in academics as well as a family. And I think also it is really realistic, because you gain in multitasking and then you can also combine tasks with the family together with tasks from research or from your project management and group management.
But I think that sometimes really needs mental support, because I remember the time, and I had twins, and sometimes it was just really mentally very stressful, because you thought, you're not a good mother and not a good researcher anymore, because there's just not enough time for focusing on both. So in your opinion, Britta, it's also a social problem that the society is still not providing sufficient support that women can work. And I think we see that very drastically right now in this COVID pandemic, where kids have to be homeschooled, and there's a big burden on women again. But that again has to do with the pay gap. And this is another interesting number. Every March there is the equal pay day. And Germany has still quite a sufficient pay gap for the same position, for the same job, not in academia, but in industry, between men and women. So do you think that would help to improve if we are paid the same? Or was that never a topic for you, because like in the German system we are paid basically the same salary? However, promotion, are you confident that female and male researchers are promoted the same way, getting to the next level in salary? Anna?
So I can just tell the story from my point of view, because I have never seen any differences at our institute between women and men. So for us, we're all the same. We have all the same salary. That's quite nice to know, actually. But I think that the problem starts way earlier. So coming from mechanical engineering, I see that most of us have played with Lego, and there's female Lego and there's male Lego and Lego Technic, the one which is, I think, the one game for mechanical engineers. There's always just for male on the Toys R Us store, or where you buy it, I don't know. And this is the problem, that it starts in kindergarten, I think. Or when after my Abitur, I said I want to study mechanical engineering, there were so many just asking me, really, that's for men? So I said, no, it's mechanical engineering. There's not mechanical engineering for men and mechanical engineering for women. And I think that's the problem, that I was so often asked why mechanical engineering, it's just for men. I said, why? Because it's a cool job. And that was my start into mechanical engineering, and then afterwards into science.
What got you excited about the Polish topics, the battery research? Is it because it's like, the planet gets a better place, or is it really because you're interested in this fundamental science which is going on here?
Well, I can answer. Oh, sorry. I can answer the question. Well, we already modeled lithium-ion batteries and the microstructure evolutions that take place at the electrodes. And then we were very excited to carry on this research and to transfer methods to post-lithium materials. And we are very interested in accelerating new development of materials by computer simulation.
Montaha?
Yeah, if I answer this question, what made me fascinated or why I excited to join the police actually is shortly the sustainability. So we all aware about the global challenges at the moment, either from the huge increase in energy demand or the climate changes. And I think it's not enough only to convert this renewable energy to electricity, but we need to find a way to store this energy. So among different energy storage technologies, lithium-ion batteries are the most relevant technology, but this system, it appears not sustainable within the next few years. So there are really problem with the sustainability of the main elements for the commercially used electrode material like lithium and cobalt. So we need to find a new system that it's rely on more abundant elements like magnesium and sodium. So from here, it came to my shift my focus research toward post-lithium batteries, mainly magnesium and sodium ion batteries.
Thanks. So Maren, what brought you to the cluster?
Yeah, it started already with my bachelor thesis where I went on zinc deposition, and then with the master's thesis I did the next step and investigated the sodium deposition, and then I stayed at this topic. So, and yeah, I think it's what Montaha said. It's very important to face those problems, and so I think it's a very interesting topic.
Yeah, for us, it was quite similar to Britta because we are doing research on the manufacturing of lithium-ion batteries, I think for 10 years right now. And then when there was this asking for the user, that was the first day we started to think about, oh, what's coming next? And so since then, I really like the idea of this working together with these different disciplines. And for me, it's still quite hard to get what all these scientists in the different disciplines are doing. But this, I think we're now really getting to start into this interdisciplinary work together, writing proposals together, writing papers together, which is for me some kind of the key or the heart of science. So that's what I like about the Polis cluster most.
Okay, thanks. One topic I would like to address again, it's like there was a commentary in Nature 2019, and the title of this commentary was "Sexism is Still a Problem for German Research," and I thought that was quite drastically. So have you read or heard about that commentary? It's again, this article is about that Germany is a world leader in scientific research, but falls behind when it comes to diversity in science. Would you say that's true?
Actually, I have not experienced that in science, but during my studies, bachelor and master, there sometimes was this, oh, you just got this good grade because you're a woman. Mostly when it was oral exams. That's something that hurts because I don't think that it was because of that. It was just, okay, I did the same job you did, so that's why we get the same grade. But that's just something that I could always ignore. So for me, this was never a problem.
Yeah, maybe I can add here. I have similar experiences now. I don't think that it's a problem But during my studies, I sometimes had in the talks before some experiments or so, when our supervisors were male ones, they only talked to my partner in the laboratory who was a male and didn't talk to me, and this felt very strange. But afterwards, I never had this again.
I know from other countries, like in Ireland and also in the US universities, that everybody from a doctoral researcher to the head of the institute has to do an unconscious bias training. There are online programs, not only this implicit, which is pretty well known from Harvard University, but also other programs. Do you think that would be something useful? That I know that we are all biased, but that we get more aware of that, because that's a topic which is not addressed, I think, when you do your study here at KIT or Ulm University. So would you think that this should be implemented and there should be an initiative for that?
I think it could help to be more aware, that everybody is more aware of this point at all. But then I think, well, we really need a change in our whole society about the standing of women in life and about the duties, like you mentioned in this pandemic. I noticed also in my environment that mostly the women take the responsibility to look after the kids, which are more at home currently, and this is still a part of the society. And I think such an online course will not really help for this general direction we still live in. But it might help to kick off, at least at business, at the university business, to be more aware of bias aspects.
Yeah, Maren?
I think maybe this should even start sooner. Maybe would be more important to let teachers have such seminars, so that in school it's more something that already there the children are often biased by their sex, and I think there it is really something important. And what I see always as a problem with those courses is if people are getting annoyed from the topic. This is always something one has to keep in mind a little, because this is then counterproductive, I think.
That's from my side what I thought would be interesting to discuss with you. Do you have any other things you would like to bring up here, which will...
I think Christina also mentioned something that, like, some advices for early career researchers from our experience. I think it's really nice if we can give each of us some just short advice to finish or to end this.
This is a very good idea. So if I would give a recommendation, I would say stay positive and be resilient.
And if I continue in this way, I would encourage every early research career to be patient and just keep going in the way that they already start. And at some point, it happens that you will move fast, but at some point you will move slowly. But please keep on going and don't stop at the first roadblock.
Then I would add that if you want to do something, then just do it. And if somebody is telling you you should not do it, then you should do it. Because as soon as you want to do something, then you can do it.
Maybe Maren, you want to step in between as the youngest here?
Yeah, it's hard to tell in my position. But I think, yeah, if you're really interested in science, you should go on. And I think such things as family planning and so they will arrange later. I hope so.
maybe I can add something here. Always believe that women can reach the top of the hierarchy, so don't give
So
up.
there is no ceiling.
Yes, no glass ceiling. Yes.
The best thing is really not to care about too many aspects and wait for some quotes or some solutions. I think everybody should fulfill his or her own dream and don't look too much about the circumstances. And I think there are a lot of, for women as well as for men, there are a lot of possibilities and chances, and really patience is a good word for that, because sometimes there is a perfect position where you fit perfectly, but you don't get it, and there will be another announcement which maybe at the first view doesn't fit as well, but then you will have much better chances. So I heard a lot of these stories like this, and I think never give up, and go ahead and be oriented towards your dream and your academic um, interests. So that's really my message.
Thank you very much.